The laden wagon runs, bumbling and creaking down the road. Three ponies tremble. Busan. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thought Process. Today's episode number 55. I took the week off last week because first of all, I took a trip for my birthday, my 30th birthday. I guess welcome me to the club, Greg. You've been 30 for about 9 months now.
Long enough, I don't remember.
What do you think, man? What do you think about this turning 30 thing, man? I feel like, well, first of all, my 20s are over. And I made so many mistakes. I learned a lot during my 20s that, now, as I guess I'm turning a new leaf and I'm turning 30. I'm already 30. I don't know what to expect for this decade. I mean, you turned 30 at the first time because you're experiencing the pandemic from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's like it was a build-up. Like, I had this happen, that happened, then I turned 30. But for you kind of turned 30. Maybe you were thinking like, I'm going to be better this year, and then next thing you know, we've been hit with this pandemic, so we're still dealing with that.
Or my birthday wish came true.
Which was what?
Not to have to work, but still make money. But it was actually kind of funny. I was thinking about this the other day, how it went from being scared of having 2 weeks off of work to feeling fine because of like unemployment situation, to then possibly being scared again of not either finding another job or going back to the current job I already had. So it's like, I don't know, like my roommate just got offered a new job, and it was more money, but it was further away, so more of his day would be gone, and it's kind of headed in a backwards direction. So he's in finance right now, but then he would be going to sales for like what is it called? You lend money for like equipment lender, and he's like, there's not really anywhere I can go, but if I make like quotas on getting people to take the loans, I could be making an extra $2,000 a month. So he's like, I might be taking a step back, but it could also be a step forward. So should I take it, or should I continue in the path that I kind of stepped back from it for? So
do you think you find yourself in the same situation?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people will find in the same situation. Like my other brother, who was a server in a restaurant, they just kind of stopped calling him back for like work, and so he went and found another serving job. And it seems like they're not that hard, because I keep hearing people finding new serving jobs like consistently, and so I think some people are trying to make a new step, trying to sacrifice money to get into places. Like a few people I know have left to go to like Costco, because they pay you semi decently, and then you also get the benefits. And then that company, if you stay around long enough, there are very well paid jobs in that company. So they're willing to sacrifice now, because they know if they're going to be stuck somewhere, Costco will eventually give you a comfortable position in life.
Yeah. Well, I think that's always happening, whether it's been now or years past. Maybe we've been so busy we've never seen it.
Yeah. Or a lot of people are in midlife crisis now. Push them into it early.
Well, I mean, would it be considered a midlife crisis or a quarter life crisis if you're 30? 25.
Because 60, I think, is the average age now of
So,
staying alive.
crisis or quarter life crisis. Did you feel something? Did you go through something like that?
I have not, but
You sure?
yes,
Thinking back,
my ex went through it for sure. That was the whole reason we broke up at the end of it, was that she just felt like she didn't get to experience life, having a kid early 20s and having another kid, like her 20s were having kids. She never could have fun. So it's kind of like a midlife crisis concept. You blow up your life and then you kind of fix yourself and be like, this was.
and where do you find yourself within that spectrum?
I don't think I've ever blown up.
This podcast is about to blow up. No. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay. I feel at 30, I feel like I've lived 3 lives. And you could say it could go by decade. And by that I mean, that my first decade, I was pushed out from a world that I knew into a world that I had no idea about. I had to really quickly overcome many obstacles, many of them which were in fact really, really hard to overcome. For example, the first thing would be for me would be speaking English. English is my second language. Coming from Mexico and coming here when I was 7, not knowing how to speak to people, not knowing what people thought. I remember the first day, dude, in 1997, 96, 97. I turned 7 here, so I must have been in 3rd grade here. And I remember walking into class and my mom left, and it was just a completely strange world immediately. All the kids were speaking English. And I remember it clearly, man. And I remember it in English. The first couple of things that I heard someone say was, "Oh, he doesn't speak English." And then I couldn't understand anything, so I literally just bawled. I cried, man. I cried so hard. I felt out of place. And in hindsight, taking that experience, and actually what's funny about that is that I remember everything they said in English. I remember, one of the girls who was sitting next to me, she was comforting me. She's like, "It's okay. We all cried." Especially the guy that was saying, "Oh, you're crying?" Especially that guy. I remember her saying that, it's crazy, you know? So that was up to 10, learning how to speak English literally by watching cartoons.
That's funny because I was gonna wait and tell you that one of my buddies who came here also said that he knew he was coming here, and so he wanted to learn how to speak English. So he said he would always turn on cartoons, and that's how he learned the majority of his English.
Yeah, it's been fun, dude. Just I think for me it's been really interesting knowing 2 languages. It's like 2 different worlds, man. And okay, so I learned English through cartoons and hanging out with friends. And in fact, Sunday I'll have a friend over to do the podcast. I don't think you've ever met him. His name is Tiago. We're gonna reconnect. Some stuff has happened, so I really want to talk to him about that. But he was one of the first people that I met here. Along with people like Raul in 3rd, 4th grade. I've known the guy for 23 years. And, well, making friends, you go into your teens, but then at your teens, I felt like for me, the world was just I was like one warm beer between 10 people. Remember that in high school? You remember
I
that?
never drank.
Yeah, I'm sure you.
I did not drink
No, you
until
never
I
did.
was 23 or 22.
So I mean, by that time, I think we might have been. I might have been 17, around there.
There was plenty of times that had seen it. Like I see people with Gatorade bottles that are clear.
Vodka.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, what do you expect? It's pure alcohol and there's like little to no Gatorade in there.
You mean kids?
It was high
Younger
school.
kids? Oh, in high school?
Yeah, so people our age at the time.
Yeah. Well, from being a little lost. I guess I was lost during high school for sure. So I didn't know where to fit in. I didn't know what my next step was actually. And then I started working. And then I felt like I got into my comfort zone because I knew what to do when it came to work. And so, that those two transitions already, that's a lot. I can't believe us as humans go through that. Then turning 21, basically 21 to 25 is blur. Because you're just partying, you're just having a good time, don't have a care in the world. I remember being hungover like every weekend.
Not me. I didn't do that.
No? I mean, I still got my work done, don't get me wrong. I still went to work no matter how I felt or what, right? But it was like a blur. It just...
I think 21 to 25, I was in a room by myself playing games.
Sounds boring,
Shades over
Greg.
the window. Nah, see, that's the difference. It wasn't boring. I don't think I was ever bored. It was just a different type of fun.
Different type of fun for sure.
Yeah, I don't, you go back and you try to talk about it, but those people aren't there anymore. It's almost, I don't know. It's almost like
Speaking to the micro, I can barely hear you.
it's almost like people in your history had died almost. Like, I don't know. Do you have a friend who's died through the years?
Yeah.
It's like you can still tell the stories about the person, but the person's not around.
Right.
So there's no more connection. It's almost what online relationships are like. When they end, it's almost like the person died.
Yeah, I guess in a way, right?
Have you ever had that, like an online relationship of friends or anything like that?
Maybe on social media, maybe like a long time ago. Maybe I met like people online, maybe like through Facebook, and I don't message them anymore. But I see their postings; they're still there. But it was never like I never established a concrete relationship with them.
I have 6 people that I talk to daily, and I've talked to for like the last 2 years. Well, I don't know. Some of them may know each other's names, but we all pretty much don't know each other's names. And then I do have one friend. You've met him before. Marcelo and I met our friend Marcelo met him online.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, what's up?
We were supposed to go on a road trip out there to his house. He lives out in Pennsylvania, from California to Pennsylvania, but something else happened, so I wasn't able to go. Marcelo went. That's the first time we met him. And then he came out here with his buddy, and we all met him then.
Did we go to the beach or something?
I think you probably had met him.
I think I met him briefly.
And so now there's more of a relationship there.
Well, yeah, man. Online relationships are weird, dude. I'm telling you, cheers, man. Cheers to 30, and to the new decade, the new normal. But anyway, so relationships, online relationships are always weird. I don't think that I've ever felt a connection from an online, even like an online message, and it's so easy to take things out of context. The thing about having a conversation in person as we are doing that, as we are now, as opposed to when we used to do this podcast over Skype. There are things that it's your body language, eye contact. All these things have a purpose. It's like we're establishing the connection. Like, oh, like we're tuned in. These headphones, which by the way are new for the podcast, they help us lock into the conversation more.
Okay.
I used to feel like we were talking and then things were happening on over here with the chat or with the videos we were showing. I wasn't really listening, and I caught myself, and so, which is why I bought these headphones so that we can be a little bit more connected. But anyway, besides the headphones, having the eye contact, having the body language, having all these weird things that we know, they help establish the connection. And I don't know if you've felt that. You know, for me, it's actually very, I don't know, I'm very particular. When I meet people, for me, if maybe not the first time around, but if I meet you a few times and you avoid like eye contact, or you avoid like, you know, you're kind of like, I understand you're shy, and because I'm shy, I get it. But if you like avoid like deliberately avoid eye contact, or you know, like your body language is off, like I'll notice that, and it immediately puts me off. Not puts me off, but like it puts me in a position where I just don't really trust that person right away. And like for us, like we've known each other, we've grown to be used to each other and how we've been. But if we were to just like meet today, and we are the way we are, I don't think we click.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what really makes this, I guess, the relationship that we would have, what makes it strong is the shit that we've been through. You know, the shit that we've helped each other go through. And, I mean, now we're going on a tangent. But anyway, so I'll go back to the 20s, which were a blur until actually 2 years ago. So I remember, did you ever happen to go to my first ugly Christmas sweater party? You weren't there, huh?
I think so.
I think we invited you, but I think you were busy with the miss. Well, anyway, the idea was, it was our first time. This must have been 2014, 2015. Must have been around the first time that I ever like actually moved out and had my own place. I was trying to get everybody who came in, all the guests, all our friends, to take shots with me. They never did. So I would take the shot. I'd pour it. They never took the shot. So I would have to take the shot. And it was like that for like an hour, dude. All I remember was, you know, we just kept, you know, playing music. People were dancing. And then it was like knock, 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 knock. I go to the door, and it's the property manager. And she's like, "Oh, you're being too loud." I said, "Oh, sorry." And she's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just a Christmas party." She's like, "Oh, how cute." And then I was like, "Oh, I'll turn it down." I shut the door, and I immediately blacked out. I was out. Like, dude, I was out. I don't remember anything. You know, I had to wake up at freaking 6 a.m. to drive to Vegas for a convention. So I woke up, I threw up, I walked towards the door, I like just grabbed my luggage, I walked towards the door, I open the door, I get that cold breeze from the morning, and I immediately want to throw up. I go back, throw up, and then I drive all the way to Vegas, hungover. It was the worst hangover recovery that I have ever had. And so that was my life,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then one day, I just, I just woke up, and it must have been like 2 years ago. And my life has not been the same since then. Everything, dude, I discovered, like, I guess my mortality, which is what I'm going back to, is the quarter life crisis that people feel, is that you have these feelings of, well, like you're just awakening, like you're just beginning to awake, like I felt like I was in a cocoon for all my life, and I was finally coming out of the cocoon. I was like, oh shit, this is what life's about. It's weird. And people are scared of that. I was scared of that. I'm kind of getting over that fear now, because it's, you get used to the new normal. You know, like at the beginning of this whole COVID thing, like people literally thought we were gonna be dead. Every single one of us. Like, this is the one that's gonna get us, right? Here you are, you're wearing your masks, you're social distancing, you're doing whatever you need to do,
Mm-hmm.
you're staying healthy, and most of us made it. And that, dude, like, just knowing that puts this perspective on, like, for me, it opens this type of perspective that I'm like, man, we're so fragile. Like, in a snap.
Yeah, that's why I've always looked at things where it's like it's so simple for something to happen. Like it's so simple for you to do the dishes and say have a knife and drop the knife and the knife goes straight through your foot. But somehow in 30 years, I've never done anything so ridiculous like that to almost kill myself. Like there's been accidents where like I don't know, you almost like trip and fall in front of something. It's like how is it that in 30 years I haven't accidentally died, but if I put a glass on the edge of a table like this, almost every time it falls over. You know what I'm trying to get at? Like how is it that we're just as delicate as a situation like that, but this happens almost every time, and we haven't died?
I don't know. We can go into a lot of, like, mysticism and spiritual and religious beliefs. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know the answer anymore. I thought I had an idea in my 20s when I was, like, having a good time. Like, oh, everything's about having a good time. Think positive. Do these things. Work out. And then I just woke up. I'm like, wait a minute. Even though we did all that, we're still struggling right now. We're so human beings. We're so fragile. And back to the point of, like, the quarter life crisis, I feel like everybody experiences it, obviously, in different. It's a spectrum, I think. Depending on your mentality, where you're at, your age, the maturity, who you're with, has a lot to do with it. Either you'll live it or you'll live through it or not. Like, I used to wonder about people who did, like, hardcore drugs. Not anymore. I get it. I know why they do that. It's tough, dude. Life is really tough. Turning 30, for me, it's like, although I'm embracing it and I'm looking forward to this new decade for me, it's scary as fuck, dude. The responsibilities, the realness of life. It's not the life we used to know, Greg. Like, I'm sure you know that now from the shit you went through. Maybe you went through it before I did. But that in itself, I think, is part of that quarter life crisis. Like, I think everybody needs to go through it. Your midlife crisis, you'll have that at 50, whatever.
maybe.
By then, hopefully, you're retired.
Or lucky enough, what I'm currently experiencing now is my midlife crisis, and I'll just get over it. Because some people, they say they can go out and buy the car that costs them all their savings. Like I just heard this guy bought a basketball that took half their savings. That was signed by I don't know who it was signed by. I can't remember, but it cost $4,000. And I was thinking, I was like, $4,000 is half your savings. Two people, that's two people's worth of savings. And it's just interesting to see that some people would freak out if they only had $8,000 in their bank account, and it would drive them into midlife crisis, where they freak out. Some people end up killing themselves over things like that, and it's crazy how we will all get affected in our own ways when it comes to a midlife crisis concept. Because I don't know, I'm trying to think back on it about my parents if they ever had one. I can't think of any time where they made any kind of funky decision.
When they had you.
They didn't know. They were not like, we're gonna have a baby. They were like, oh, we're having a baby.
Oh man, I'm sure that's scary. I'm sure that's scary having kids, and now you don't have to worry just about your life. You have somebody's literally depending on you.
I feel
that must be so scary.
I almost kind of feel it because I don't really hear people actually say like the midlife crisis anymore. Because I feel like if you think back on it, it was a long time ago where things were a little bit more like easier to have a job and have like a decent form of living for most people. And so when it was just kind of easier, there weren't as many struggles. There were struggles, but it's not the same as the feelings that we're all getting from stupid things. So when people are struggling because their Instagram following is not getting big enough, they get a midlife crisis from that. But if people are having it semi-simple-ish, like a job, they can just go to work, they come home, the family's there, they're married, all that. But now in these days, you can have a job, you can have a wife, but you're probably gonna end up getting divorced. You're probably gonna have a kid with someone who you had a one-night stand with, and the issues, the midlife crisis concept, I think, is happening earlier in life.
Now? Yeah. You think it's propagated through like technology?
Not necessarily just technology, but the way people act now. Like I feel like if you took away the technology right now, what we have as like social normals, like the way people are dressing, the people they had idolized, I think that style would stay around much longer than it would if we kept the social media.
Because things become trendy, and it's like from one day, people are they're riding a trend, the bandwagon.
Yeah. So if you think in the past and you look at it, it's all very like you just kind of kept yourself up and everyone looked the same because there were no trends. There was nothing changing. There wasn't enough time for people to catch on to what Joe down the street did.
It would take a long time.
Yeah.
But I think there were definitely trends, but it would take a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. The life would be longer.
Mm-hmm.
But
So I think that everything we perceived midlife crisis wise has moved down earlier,
but
and that's why we see crazier people in younger ages these days.
But you know what, dude? I think that we've been this way for a long time. I feel like we haven't really evolved.
I've always said that. Like
I feel like we, as people, technology is crazily just. I mean, right now, instead of having this conversation in like an assembly room, we're having a conversation through headphones and microphones, and we're able to hear each other clearly. And now people out there can listen to us as they please, whatever time they want, right? Technology has never been advancing as fast as it is now, which, in a sense, to me, that's a little scary too. people are not. We're not keeping up with it.
Yeah, that's that seems to be one of the issues is that it's expanding. I almost think that there's going to be a burst at some point because it's expanding so much. Companies are trying to shrink it into only whoever works for the company, whoever is relevant right now, knows the ins and outs, knows how these things actually work, and knows what's coming. So like, let's just say Apple. If Apple has some new product that they're going to release 2 years from now, they're working on it right now. They know what the picture is. They know what they need to do. If anything, they may even already have the product. They're just working on to make it better.
But dude,
And so that those things are expanding too quickly, and the human brain's not changing.
yeah.
So at a certain point, it's just gonna.
Well, this is what I think about like big companies like that. Like we want to sit here and theorize that it's one person behind pulling the strings. It's not like that. The company, it's like, I don't know. I look at like social media, and I've just been thinking about like the whole censorship stuff that's been going around again. You know, with the whole Spotify censoring Joe Rogan or whatever. And honestly, it's like I think that these platforms, these companies have gotten too big too quick. And you're always going to have issues like that. Like people are always going to want to do, you're always going to have like the rebels, you know? And though, you know, as from what I can see, and because I work with a small team with our company, I already can see how one person who's in charge of the company struggles to just keep 5 people at bay. I couldn't imagine how you would run a tech company like Apple or like a media company like Twitter or Facebook. Like we all want to blame it on Zuckerberg. Oh, Zuckerberg this, Zuckerberg that. You know, I'm telling you, like I feel like I just woke up from this delusion that I had, which was a very close mentality. I feel like, oh, well, this is what it is. That's what I know. That's what it is. That's not, I don't think that's true anymore. Having these companies who have thousands of people, you know, you have lawyers, you have insurance policies, you have, you know, HR, you have, it's built of so many departments. And I'm not sitting here and, to defend them. I don't agree with some of the things they do, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, how much can these people actually do? You know, if there's like a few employees in this giant corporation, how are you going to figure out who's leaking things, who's doing the things that are not supposed to be done? It's really tough to do.
Yeah.
You know?
See, that's the other thing, though, is that at the end of the day, you're responsible for what happened. So that you have to keep people in line, or you're screwed. So if you go outside of a scope of what you can do, then you need to dial it back, or you need to take the consequence. And so that's one
true,
of the
man.
things that's going on is they're just like, we'll just try to find a way around that.
I mean, dude, honestly, there are never, ever, ever going to be no obstacles in life or in your business or in your company or whatever. We're always going to be facing them. You know, one day they're going to wake up, something's going to be in the news, and that's how they find out. Like, what? What do you mean? One of my employees did what? And you're screwed. Everyone's going to be like, oh, Zuckerberg did that, or Elon Musk did that, or Jeff Bezos did that, when it wasn't actually you. And so, I don't know, I guess that's just my 2 cents on big tech companies. I think it's just really hard for people to, you know, really figure out how it actually works. There's too much. I mean, I think we're too busy. We're too busy, you know, going to school. We're too busy doing this. We have personal lives. We have relationships we need to upkeep. We're too busy. You know, especially if you're 20 years old, 21. Let's say you just turned having a good time. You're not really thinking about the next candidate. Although you hear about it, you may think about them briefly. You're like, you know what? You make like emotional decisions, right? When you're younger, you don't have time. I don't have time to be on the news thinking about what the outcome of this new president was going to be. Never thought about that until last night when I was like watching the debate. I was like, dude, this is what America has come to. As someone who's not from America, I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
it was interesting. I actually went back and I listened to the debate when Reagan was debating. I don't remember who his opponent was. And the moderator, he goes, so some people are saying that you are the oldest person who's running for president. If you are elected, can you say that your age won't affect you or
to be a good president,
be biased towards anything? And he goes, oh yeah, I would never use my age as a problem. I would never discredit his young his young age and inexperience. And he just drinks his water, and everyone, including the guy, was laughing. Like there was a moment there that they were all just like, they all could laugh about a joke that went out. And because they're working on different issues and different things, but they were still seeing each other as people.
Yeah, that's actually really funny. I mean, I don't want to get stuck in the whole debate stuff. I'm just gonna dismiss what we were talking about and move on.
I mean, with debate, just specifically debate, not about politics. I'm very bad at that, and I could research things, and I could get what I would consider a fact and see all these things. But when it comes down to someone asking, like it's almost like I forget everything.
Like when someone puts you on the spot.
Yeah, it's like why do you think it's okay to eat chicken? I'm just like I'm not sure why.
Because the meat of the chicken is a source of very high protein, and people need protein.
I know. I'm just like
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, public speaking. I mean, I think this is kind of what we're doing right now. I've had an issue with public speaking. This is actually kind of helping with that.
But see, like mine's even in a private setting. Like if you were to tell me something, or if my mom was to talk to me, or someone other people who are close who ask, who you're comfortable with, I still get the same thing.
Well, we're comfortable with each other to an extent. If I were to ask you, like, right off the bat, Greg, it's like if I were to ask you something just that would kind of throw a wrench in how we've actually conducted ourselves with each other, it would kind of baffle you a little bit. I would put you in an uncomfortable position, and I think that if you don't have experience with being uncomfortable, then that may have something to do with it.
Well, no, 'cause, I mean everyone can be wrong. So like if you're wrong, it's okay.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, what if I said, "Hey, Greg, what's the worst thing you've ever jerked off to?" And then you'd be like that's my dirtiest, darkest secret. I don't want to talk about that.
It's definitely not.
Missionary. JK, jokes. Anyway, back to 30, dude. I don't know, man. I feel like it's, for me, turning 30 is about taking life more seriously. At the same time, making these kinds of jokes because, what's so fun about a serious life? You need to have some fun too. So that's kind of like what I'm kind of going for this decade. Be serious, but also enjoy the times that I have. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what else are we gonna do, Greg? We're 30 years old. You already have a family. I'm like on the verge of a family. Still a little not undecided. I think we've decided. It's just planned. Because I don't know, I have a hard time with not planning things.
I don't know. I think I have a hard time planning things. But, I don't think that far out. I like to stay open.
In the moment,
I guess it's like, let's say after this, I have a message on my phone where someone want to hang out. I'll make a plan with that. But like, I don't know, saying, oh, 2 weeks down the line, we're gonna do this on this day. I'm kind of like, I don't want to do that because I can wake up feeling completely different all the time.
mm-hmm.
It's like one day, like the stars are aligned and it's a perfect day and it's great. But like on the birthday, like my stomach hurt and I was just like,
I did feel that actually. I was going to talk to you about that before the podcast, but now that you brought it up,
well, I had this like gas bubble from all the driving from Arizona and everything, and I just didn't really feel good. So I knew like if I had more than like 2 drinks, I probably would have puked. Just not even because of drinking, just because my stomach didn't feel good.
but you know what, dude? Whether you had, I mean, I feel like you didn't have the best time, but you were still there.
Yeah.
That's what counted. So thanks.
Even when I don't have the best time, I'm not bored.
It was a good time.
Like the reason, like I had a really good time at your wedding, and I never danced once.
Yeah, you did.
Nah, there was that
Yeah, you did.
weird thing when everyone was around, and we did like a weird like you did the circle and one person danced in the middle, and I just
That's so
was
fun,
like
dude.
flailing. But outside of that, I didn't dance. I just went around and talked to people and just laughed about stupid things. That's what I enjoy. Laughing about stupid things. I don't want to sit there and I don't know. Like I said, every day is different. Like I had enjoyment. Like I was taking drinks to your whole family. I was like, what do you guys want? What do you guys want? I think I have more of a enjoyment from serving people in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you need help or you, I don't know. It
No,
gives me
I
something
get
to
it.
do.
I get it. It's
I need a purpose,
yeah.
kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. I need a purpose for my 30s to 40s, 30s plus.
Well, you have a purpose. So, but you have a purpose for someone else.
Sure.
Now you need a purpose for you.
You know, speaking of that, I've been complimented twice. And I usually don't ever get compliments like out and about in the world. Like not on looks, not in a sexual way.
I know. It's just funny how you say it, dude.
I mean, you don't get compliments. Oh, you drive really nice, or like I don't get simple, blatant, just compliments on things. Like, oh, you look really good today. Like, I don't get those. It just hasn't happened. And I've gotten two within the last like 4 months about how I talk to my son. So we go to the beach, and if he throws a fit for some reason, he gets mad or starts screaming. I talk to him, and I've gotten a compliment from another dad and then a mom. Who the mom one, I was like, what? She was like, man, I saw how you talk to him, and I need some of that restraint and skills. And I was like,
You're like, hey, my numbers.
Wine Wednesday, lady. Let's go. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's times where people want to compliment, but it's weird. Like I find it, you find it weird. Like let's just say we're walking down to downtown here, "Oh, you guys look very nice tonight," and walk on. Like, it'd be very simple, but weird at the same time. Like, I believe,
What are you afraid of?
I don't know, like the concept of them thinking that I'm trying to be some creep or something.
Are you a creep?
No, I don't think so.
Why would they think you're a creep?
I don't know.
So, okay. Actually, this is actually something that I've learned recently. It's not really about the why, because we understand what the why is.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, for you, like you said, it's kind of hard for you to talk to people. I know why, because it makes you a little uncomfortable. Maybe it's a little part of social anxiety, which I have. It's fine. But what about it makes you feel that way? Is it the reject, or like the sense of falsehood? Are do you mean what you're saying? Are you afraid that they're gonna say, "Hey, perv," or what? Like, you don't want them to see you in a light that you're not you, or what is it about? Because I mean, we've talked about it a couple times, on this podcast, where I feel like for you, you just need to be more. I think you're a good guy, man. You just have to put yourself out there. Present yourself as you are. You don't need to look special, bro.
That is something you just said. Present yourself as you are. And I was gonna bring this example because I was looking at the wine as you were talking, and I've heard this a lot from women. Like, you hear, like, I'll start with the men. From men, if you go to a bar or somewhere, you need to drink a manly drink, right? You gotta get some whiskey, or you have to get a manly mixed drink, or a beer, because that's what makes you a man.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually heard from more women than not that when you are drinking what's considered a girly drink, that it's actually more attractive in a sense, because you don't care what everyone else has to say.
You're breaking the norm.
You're willing to do what you like, regardless of what the guys think of you.
Because you're different. Okay?
And I think maybe that's what it is. I'm different, and I don't want people to necessarily care that I'm different.
So you shouldn't care. I mean, that's just my blunt advice. I don't think you should care. I don't care. I mean, we went over this last time. Everything that I do, I don't think that any of my friends have done. Any of your friends have a podcast?
One. He just started it, yeah.
He just started it.
I haven't been able to listen. Well, actually, no, I haven't even tried to listen. I'm pretty sure it's in Spanish. That's why I haven't tried. But, yeah, he started. Actually, I kind of want to say he started it because we started ours.
Well, give
he
him a
started
shout out,
talking
man.
to me. I can't pronounce the name, so I can't remember the name. But next time I'll bring it.
Is it someone on my? Because I don't know this person.
It's like one of the guys who I worked with at the restaurant.
Okay.
We served together. Actually, we started as bussers. He started as a dishwasher. I was a busser. Then he became a busser. Then we both became servers. And then I became a general manager. Then he became my assistant general manager. And then he became one of the general managers. So,
okay.
So that's how we first met. And it's funny because we weren't necessarily like friends the whole time. We could communicate when we were working. We'd have a good time when we were working. Everyone could tell that we enjoyed each other's company. And so one day, everyone started just saying, like, he was my best friend and that I was his best friend. And it just kind of became that thing. We never hung out outside of work or anything. And to this day, we text each other back and forth all the time. Just say, hey, how's it going, man? What you doing?
Okay, cool.
And that's how I could see the podcast, because when we started, he talked to me about the podcast we were doing, and then a month later, he was doing it too.
Nice. That's good for him. Good for him, man. Well, when we know the name of the podcast, we'll plug it in.
Yeah, maybe have him on to see what his experience was at the start compared to our experience.
out there, Greg. You got to do it.
I think maybe see. Okay, how I said I have to have a purpose, right? Maybe I don't really know how to do it. Maybe get everyone together and do a one night of I have to do certain things that are kind of that are accepted. Not someone can't just be like, oh, you gotta strip down to your underwear and run a mile. Nothing like that. Like actual legitimate things that I normally wouldn't do, like go up to someone at the bar and buy them a drink, or
But
say
okay,
it's just one girl tonight that you look pretty.
Why do you need to have external purpose? Is that not what you want?
Because those things I would not do naturally and would not think of doing.
But what is it that you want now that you're 30? You're not sure?
No.
You don't want like a...
I mean, if you want to go to the cliche stuff, like I want to have the house, I want to have a job that pays well, and I don't necessarily have to worry about if I want to eat fast food or at a restaurant or cook at home. And if I cook at home, if I can have the steak or I have to buy the value chicken. That's what I would want. Something that I don't necessarily have to worry about what I'm doing next.
But when it comes to relationships,
I would want one, but I think I'm too picky right now.
FWB girls, if you're listening to this, Greg's open. Look, man, you just have to have fun. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't take things too seriously. I'm telling you, man. It's like take things seriously, but also don't. At the same time, I think you have to have balance. I for sure need balance in my life. I can't just be like. I mean, right now you see, you came in at what time? 6:30, 6:15.
Yeah.
About. I was still working, and I was still like trying to finish work. You know. But this is my off time. You know, we're having a drink, we're having a conversation, we're having cracking jokes. Maybe from here we'll, you know, go have some dinner, whatever. You know, we need to have the balance. We can't just be like thinking that work is everything, because it is. Work can be everything until you miss your whole life, and that's definitely not something I want to do.
Yeah.
So, 30. I think we need to do something crazy for 30, right?
Sounds like mid-year crisis right there. Thought.
Well, not because I think I'm getting over my quarter life crisis.
What if this is the crazy thing?
The podcast?
Yeah. And Matt, I was actually watching this earlier today. One of the biggest YouTubers there is Mr. Beast. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
You know his premises, like what he does. He
Giving a lot to get a lot.
Well, yeah. So he just I think he started off before he made money through Bitcoin. He made a lot of money through Bitcoin. That's how he kind of blew up. But he started off doing like games, and then he kind of commentated, and then he kind of just made stupid videos, and then he more recently has started to do like challenges and giving away money and things like that. And when he started, like looking at it, you can tell like he did not expect what was about to come. There's no way. So that's one of the things that maybe I should think of. I don't know what's coming. Could be great.
It could be good. It could be bad. I mean, maybe we won't be doing this next year. I don't know.
Maybe we're not doing this because whatever that good thing came along.
That too. Yeah, I mean, stay open, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Just like the KFC guy.
what was it, 62?
He just kept going, and then eventually, here it goes.
62. And it's still around, dude. Years later, dude. That's so crazy.
That's what I was hearing today about. I was watching a documentary about like social media companies and how.
Which one?
The one on Netflix.
You already finished it?
No, I'm in the first episode.
Because I tell you, and sorry that I'm interrupting you, but I was going to tell you that we should watch it. And for the next podcast, we're going to be doing a rabbit hole, social media slash. So the idea is, I won't tell you now because it's going to defeat the purpose until the day of. So we'll talk about that.
Watch it by next week.
No, well, sure.
But what they were saying was that when everything came down to it, and they were trying to figure out how all these things kind of meshed together, all the ideas finally stuck and went, was just because of getting people to have 7 friends. And that's all it took. There was that movie a long time ago, Pay It Forward, where he would give it to 3 people and they need to give it to 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have lost that concept. I stick to the same few people I know, and I'm not willing to meet the next 3 people. I'm not willing to make the other 7 people. And I think
telling
that's
you
back. But how do you do that when now you don't enjoy even speaking to someone?
Okay, so for me, I don't need new friends. I don't need new people in my life. However, I understand that I could always learn from people. Because for me, not growing up without a dad was I needed to learn from other people because I didn't have the person that was supposed to teach me. My mom didn't have any time to teach me. She was too busy working. So I had to teach myself by observing other people. And so by doing that, I realized that, some people are good, some people are bad, but other people will actually teach you. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to do the things that maybe they kind of see themselves in you. Eventually, I have a mentor now. Eventually, I think that my way of paying it forward would be taking somebody under my wing, and doing that for them. But that's still a long way, dude. I still have a lot to learn. In the same way, I think that you need to think about it like in similar to that. Even though, and we're just talking romantically, okay? It could be friends, whatever you want. But I feel like you're kind of more hesitant to meet people, particularly girls, maybe because I don't know, and I'm not trying to like psychoanalyze you or anything like that. I'm just saying this is kind of what I'm feeling. I feel like maybe you just you don't want to go through the same thing again. And I get it, dude. I wouldn't want to do that.
I don't think that's why I'm not necessarily finding a relationship or I guess in that sense pursuing one, because that's how it was after my first relationship. That was just as long. There was a long period of time where I didn't do anything because I don't know. I really would rather have a friend first than anything, and people these days don't seem to do that. And I think that's what throws me off is that I don't know, most people don't seem to be looking in that direction. More people are looking for like, what am I gonna get now?
Yeah, of course. There's those people. But I've met plenty of people who don't come across like that. You also need to say, hey, this is what I want. Actually, for you, it would be a plus. If you just want to be friends, you'd be like, oh, this guy's not interested in me. What is wrong with him? Especially if it's a pretty lady. You're going to get them hooked right away, dude. If you're not like interested in them romantically, or maybe you kind of are, but you don't want to show it, you'll be different. It's pretty girls, man. They get hit on left and right. Left and right. You gotta be that person that doesn't look at them twice.
happen.
Sometimes it does.
Dude, I've been
Sometimes.
approached twice in my life. Twice.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen, dude. That means a 15-year gap. So in 13 years, it'll happen again. I'll be 43 before this happens again.
I don't think that's the best way to look at it, but it's pretty funny. I'll give you that. I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. Only you know. And I know you know because I know what the answers are for me. And sometimes we look at those things and we don't want to do them. You know, I was just thinking about this. Like, this whole time, dude, I've been complaining about the gyms being closed. Well, they're open. However, they are on the verge of closing again, from what I hear.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So, but it doesn't cost me anything to get out and walk and run and do sprints, like, and do the jump rope, the things I know how to do. It doesn't cost me anything. I've just been putting it off.
I think one of the things with that, I see it myself actually, because I worked out today. I should have worked out yesterday, but I worked out Monday. I didn't do Tuesday. I did today. But usually I work out on the days that I don't have my son, so that the days I do, I can kind of do whatever I want. So I've been wanting to get a bike because I knew I could bike and do that. It's not hard, but you're getting. I'll lose the weight I want to lose. And then I got a kettlebell. I started using it, and I was doing all these things that like all the squats, doing a bunch of squats and doing a bunch of like push-ups, but my wrists hurt when I do push-ups, and then I can't walk when I do squats all the time. And I was like, this is not enjoyable. No wonder I'm probably gonna stop again. So I pick it up, I put a timer on, and I have the kettlebell there. I do the weights and whatever I feel. If it gets too difficult or too painful, I switch to something else. And you just don't care. But now I'm doing it. So like you have to be willing to just do something.
Trust me, dude. I know. I've been using the excuse of having too much work. You know, because something I actually noticed back when I was working out, like, religiously, and I mean, like, religiously, I went to your party, the party you invited me to. I brought my own food. I had everything measured before I got there. I was just drinking water, nothing crazy, right? It's not about the fact that I can't do it, because I know I can. I've just been using the excuse of I have so much work I have to do. I don't have time to work out. And maybe it's one of those ideas that you said earlier. Maybe you're taking a step back to take 2 steps forward later. I haven't figured it out. Or maybe this is me procrastinating again. I don't know. But the fact is that, you know, I remember working out so crazily in the mornings that by the time I got to work, I wasn't putting in the 100% of work. Dude, I remember working out when I was working at overnights at Home Depot. My breaks, my lunch and breaks, I was literally sleeping. I was just sleeping because I couldn't keep up with the work.
Yeah.
It was so draining.
We're going to failure, and then we had other responsibilities.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and I'm that type of guy. I mean, like, I'm like balls deep, like in everything.
And is that the same kind of concept as we were talking about earlier about like having a drink at the bar? You're supposed to do it a certain way. That we see working out as you have to lift heavy. You have to do this. You have to do that. If you're not doing this, you're wasting your time. Like,
well,
no.
I would say it's like a perfectionist
like check out
attribute.
Check out these dudes doing yoga who can freaking flip their leg 360. Like, can someone who's going and bench pressing 350 do that? No. Like that's as impressive as lifting a heavy weight.
It's a different impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You enjoy being out there riding your bike or doing every different kettlebell exercise in one day. day, you're gonna come to the same conclusion of being healthy for yourself.
I think we all need balance.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I remember like working out like crazy, then getting to a point where I could do like a cheat day a week, and I would just go crazy. I would just devour everything,
Yeah.
pizzas. Like I was eating like upwards of 10,000 calories.
I remember that the whole day was just you and your wife just driving place to place.
Dude, it was the best. I loved it. We had like brunch. I would work out, have my shake, and then after the shake was donuts, pizza, burgers, tacos, whatever I could fit in my body, dude. I would get to the point where at night I'd be sleeping like on my side and be like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
I got to that point a lot, and I kind of miss that actually. Not going that crazy, but not having to worry about, oh man, how many calories did I eat today? You know, those days it was a good break. Now it's like, shit, I don't know what I'm gonna eat today. I'm just gonna eat because I don't have time. You know, so I think I have to work on my balance. To have my balance, I have to be able to say no to things again. That was so good, man. That was so good.
Yeah.
Back then.
Too, dude.
I mean, we're just reminiscing now and sad stories, and look at us. Hashtag dad bods.
I actually weigh the most I've ever weighed in my life right now.
Really, you don't look it.
Yeah. 20 pounds over the heaviest I've ever been.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I weighed myself the other day and I looked at it, I was like, nah, I always thought there was like a plateau of how heavy I could get. Because there was like 5 years where all I did was drink like 12 cans of Mountain Dew a day and just chow down on whatever was in the house.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go past a certain weight.
You know what it is?
Pounds over it.
You know what it is, man? It's we're coming into the mature male body. I have things like I had pants, I had shirts that one day I was like, wait a minute. I know I'm not bigger than what I was, you know, when I was working out. I was 210 pounds back then. I'm like 190 right now. I'm not like fit, you know, but I'm not 210 pounds and I can't fit in it. So I think like maybe my shoulders got a little broader, my body got a little thicker, little THICC, a little thick. So it's, I don't know, dude. Something's going on, man. They're putting hormones in my food.
Churning the frogs, gay.
I don't know what's going on, dude. But I think it'd be a cool challenge if you want to do something like that to kind of help each other be accountable. By next summer, see what's going on. Start right now, dude, because
I'll wear a thong, dude.
you heard it here, guys. On July 4th, we're gonna do a barbecue. We're gonna go to the beach, and if Greg's not wearing a thong, call him out on it. I'll do you one better. I'll wear a red Speedo if you wear a thong.
Are there man thongs?
Yeah, banana hammocks.
do they have
The elephant thongs, dude.
I feel like you'd get kicked off the beach in that.
It definitely has to be in a private beach. No kids allowed. Oh man, well, I'm glad to just live another year, man. Another lap around the sun. I couldn't ask for a better birthday, just to have all the friends and family together. That was literally all I wanted. Everybody was like, oh, what do you want? What do you want? Nothing, just show up, man. Show up, and that's that. You know, 2 weeks from now, or a week from now, over the weekend, we're going to do it again for my wife, and we'll have a lot of fun then. You know, just show up, have a good time. You know, have that little bit of balance to your life. What else are we gonna do? Can't do nothing else, Jack.
Jack. Who's Jack?
Titanic Jack. I don't know.
Didn't have enough time.
Well, I think we're gonna conclude today's episode here. You know, we'll be back next. I'll be back on Sunday with a special guest. I don't know if Greg will be able to make it. So you know, look out for that episode. Let us know. I mean, it's been a year and 4 months now, for a little bit, almost a year and a half that we've been doing this. We hope to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. We're at 34, slowly but surely getting there. So if you haven't subscribed, you're listening to this, subscribe to the podcast on all the platforms. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever, anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, we're there. You know, leave comments. Like I said from the beginning of making this podcast, is I don't just want to have you guys listen to us, because half the time we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So give us feedback. You know, just leave a comment. I want to grow a community where we're just, you know, going through life together, and we're kind of giving you our take. This is kind of like where we're at the moment. So if you have anything to add to the topics that we have, if you have any topics you guys would like for us to discuss, you know, let us know.
Let us know.
Right, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just it would be nice to get other topics that other people would want to talk about, because sometimes you don't think about a specific topic that'll help both of us.
Yeah, like how many times do you want to listen to me rant about stupid things? You know?
Yeah. Possibly tell the story multiple times.
Possibly. I mean, it's okay. If you didn't hear it the first time, you'll hear it eventually.
Yeah.
So subscribe, like, leave a comment, let us know anything. We have a website at tppIsloading.com, Google site, I believe. You know, our social media is TPP is loading across the board. Leave a comment, slide into Craig's DMs. Anyway, let's close this podcast out with a Heart of the Buddha excerpt. Today it says, "Don't be heedless of merit. It won't come to me. A water jar fills, even with water falling in drops. With merit, even if bit by bit, habitually, the enlightened one fills himself full." And with that, thank you again for joining us for another episode of Thought Process. We'll see you guys later in the week. Have a good one.
Thanks again.
Hey, thanks, Greg. And this is gonna be the slowest. Wow, look at this, is not working. Anyway, do you have anything else to talk about?
No, it's funny.
Life doesn't want us to go, man.
Yeah. Shows that we need some sponsors. Shout out Coca-Cola. Shout out Doritos.
Two more shout outs while I close this out.
It's funny how you can't move the mouse. All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you next week for the rabbit hole series we're gonna do. It was on the social media. We're gonna be watching the Netflix special